free to determine our own destiny, free from the thumb of oppression, and indeed, because of the standards set by our forefathers, we shall rise to any occasion with a willingness to act. We'll brush off comfort for hardship and fight for freedom, whatever the cost, with dogged persistence and an iron will handed down to us by those who started this unique experiment that is America. And when you sent me to Congress 2 years ago, I was very clear in my positions. I told you that I would work with this president and administration and this Congress to rebuild our military, and we've done just that. I told you that I would work with this president and this administration and this Congress to take care of our veterans, and we've done just that. And I made a commitment to you that I would vote and work to set the conditions for this economy to thrive, and that's exactly what's happening. But our work is not done, and the time is short, and I need your help. I think we have less than 2 weeks left. Our biggest threat is apathy, and we don't want to just win. We want to crush it. Over $5 million of money from around the country, from Nancy Pelosi, from California, from New York, has come into this district. Now, we appreciate the money in the local economy, but it's been very nasty, very nasty. And I can promise you that my team has had the most robust GOTV effort that has ever been done in this district, and that we will work day and night to make sure we bring this thing home. And I'm asking for you to come out and vote November 6th. Now, you didn't just come here for me. I'm appreciative that you are here. But we brought a special friend. And it is absolutely my honor, and quite frankly, it's a huge privilege for me to be able to stand up here and introduce someone who I admire and I respect and who is serving this great nation in such a fantastic way. My and your Vice President of the United States of America, Mike Pence.
She stood in the street, smiling from her head to her feet. I said, hey, what is this? Now, baby, maybe she's in need of a kiss. I said, hey, what's your name, baby? Maybe we can see things the same. Now, don't you hesitate, hesitate. Let's move.
Well, hello, Virginia.
It is wonderful to be back in the Commonwealth. Thank you all for coming out. I'm here for one reason and one reason only, and that is that Virginia and America need Scott Taylor back in Washington, D.C. Now, before I get started, let me speak to you as fellow Americans about an issue that's on all of our minds today. Over the course of the day, the President and I have been briefed several times about the packages that were sent to the Obamas, the Clintons, to CNN, and to others. As the President said earlier today, our highest priority is the safety and security of the American people, and we condemn these attempted acts of violence in the strongest possible terms. I want to assure you, at the President's direction, the full weight of the government is being deployed to conduct this investigation, and we commend the United States Secret Service, the FBI, and local law enforcement for acting swiftly in responding to this threat. As the President said, acts or threats of political violence of any kind have no place in the United States of America. And I promise you, with the full efforts of our law enforcement community, we will complete this investigation. We will get to the bottom of this, and those responsible will be brought to justice. Thank you for that. And thank you for coming out tonight. It's great to be here with all of you, with a great leader like Scott Taylor, with another great friend of mine, Congressman Scott Taylor, who serves so well the Commonwealth in Washington, D.C. And boy, I got off that airplane and was so deeply moved to meet so many Gold Star families. I know there are Gold Star families with us tonight. Would you just join me in thanking them for what they have done, what their families have done for our freedom and our nation? Thank you so much. I'm so humbled by your presence here today. But I'm here because I want to talk about a candidate. I'm here because I want to talk about the progress that we've made, and I'm here to talk about the choice that the people of this district will face in just 13 days. But before I get started, let me bring greetings from a friend of mine. I just hung up the phone from him. He's on that great big airplane headed to Wisconsin for another memorable night. But he is the man who this congressional district voted to make the 45th President of the United States of America. I bring greetings from President Donald Trump. Isn't he something? I'll tell you. You know, I really didn't know him that well when I got the phone call a couple of years ago, but I'll tell you, we've become close friends. And it's the greatest honor of my life to serve as vice president to a president who gets up every day and fights to keep the promises that he made to the people of Virginia and the people of America. Because he does it every single day. It's true. I mean, think about it. And think about the results. I mean, just in the last couple of weeks, new jobs report came out. Not only 4.2 million new jobs in the last 2 years, but unemployment is at a 50-year low. And the lowest unemployment ever recorded for African Americans and Hispanic Americans. The American dream is coming back for every American. We just, the guy that wrote The Art of the Deal just cut the biggest trade deal we've ever done. And now we have the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement that will put American jobs and American workers and American farmers first. And thanks to this president's leadership, we've seen more conservatives confirmed to our federal courts in a year and a half than any administration in American history, and that includes Justice Brett Kavanaugh. But I'm here tonight to talk about your candidate and my friend, and a great American, a patriot who has served in the uniform of the United States and is already recognized as a champion of our military, a champion of our veterans. America needs Congressman Scott Taylor back on Capitol Hill. You know, in his time in uniform, Scott Taylor, part of SEAL Team 4, based right around the corner here at Little Creek. He took a few hills. He wore the uniform. He took the risks and served with great distinction and great courage. But thanks to the support of the people of this district, he took Capitol Hill just a couple short years ago, and we need him to take it again in 13 days. Scott knows our military because he's lived it, and he's been a champion. Been a champion as we've passed historic legislation. Do you know, with Scott Taylor's support, this president has already signed the largest increase in our national defense since the days of Ronald Reagan. We're rebuilding our military. We're restoring the arsenal of democracy, and we are finally giving our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard the resources and support they deserve. And Congressman Scott Taylor led. He's been a leader. He's been a leader not only for those in uniform, but Scott Taylor's led for men and women who've worn the uniform of the United States of America. It's amazing to think of the number of veterans who live in this congressional district and call the Commonwealth of Virginia home. In fact, I won't make you stand, but would you mind raising your hand if you wore the uniform of the United States of America so we could thank you just one more time? Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you for your service. God bless each and every one of you. I'll tell you, this president and your congressman have been bringing about the kind of reforms to the VA. We now have all new accountability, so we demand that our veterans get the quality of care that they earned in the uniform of the United States. It is not an entitlement, it is an earned benefit of wearing the uniform of the United States of America. And Congressman Scott Taylor knows that. He's been an incredible champion for our military, and he's shown character throughout his life. It's not a real surprise when you know how Scott Taylor grew up. He knows about the difficulties that hardworking families face because it describes his family. When he was 11 years old, he started working on a farm near his house to help his single mom make ends meet. He stepped up when he was 18 years of age and enlisted in the United States Navy. Served in SEAL Team 4. And then he re-enlisted after 9/11 and was deployed to Baghdad and Ramadi, part of Operation Iraqi Freedom. He sustained major injuries on a combat mission, but Scott Taylor never quit, and he completed his service as a SEAL and trained other heroes that are defending our nation right now. There's no quit in it. There's no quit in it. That's why when he came home, he started a small business, but he felt the call to continue to serve, to wear a different uniform, put on a tie occasionally. Stepped up to serve in the Virginia House of Delegates, and then in the past 2 years, I'm here to tell you. There are some people, I served in Congress for 12 years before I became governor of Indiana. And got a Hoosier in the room. But I served in Congress for 12 years, and I can tell you, you know, there are certain people that the day they arrive, they have that command bearing. Scott Taylor is such a leader, and he has commanded the respect of members of Congress from the day he walked through the door. Working with Scott Taylor, we've been accomplishing a lot. I mean, think about the progress we've made. And it's the other reason I came here today, to talk about all that we've done in just the last 2 years. You know, I'll never forget the night that the guy I used to call Donald called me up and asked me to join this ticket. True story. We'd spent some time together as families, and Karen and I had prayed all the way through it, talked as a family with our kids. We knew if the call came, we'd say yes in a heartbeat. Because I saw in this man, I saw someone who believed in the boundless potential of the American people. He understood that America could be standing tall and strong and respected again and growing as an economy again. But we got a heads up at about 8 o'clock in the evening on a Wednesday night. I was at the governor's residence in Indianapolis, and they said, you're going to get the call. About 11 o'clock, that phone rang. My wife was standing next to me, and I picked up the phone, and I heard that familiar voice on the other end of the line. And he said, Mike, it's going to be great. It's true. And you know what? 4.2 million new jobs, rebuilding our military, America growing, America standing tall. It's been great every day since. And Scott Taylor's been there every step of the way, helping us put into practice everything that the President and I campaigned on, everything the people of this district supported in 2016. I mean, do you know this president has actually signed more bills with Scott's help to roll back federal red tape already than any president in American history? I mean, I remember on the campaign trail, the president used to say, we're going to repeal 2 federal regulations for every new federal rule put on the books. And I got to be honest with you, Virginia, we haven't done that. Last year, we repealed 22 federal regulations for every new federal rule put in the Code of Federal Rules. We've unleashed American energy as never before. The war on coal is over, and America is exporting energy at levels we never imagined. And then with Scott Taylor's strong support, this president, right before Christmas, kept one of the biggest promises that we made to the American people when he signed the largest tax cuts and tax reform in American history. You know, there's only one way you can describe the last couple of years. When you look at what we've done on our national defense, you look at what we've done on our courts, you look at what we've done for this economy, for working families and businesses. It's been 2 years of action. It's been 2 years of results. It's been 2 years of promises made and promises kept. And we're just getting started, Virginia. That's why we need Scott Taylor back. Because Scott Taylor's the kind of leader who knows that for all that we've done in the last 2 years, that we've just begun the process of restoring the strength and vitality of America, at home and abroad. And I stand before you today at a time when the American people are recognizing the need for strong leadership that puts the security of the American people first. You know, I got to tell you, I couldn't be more proud to stand with a president who stands without apology for the men and women of law enforcement at every level in this country. Would you join me in thanking all the law enforcement officials who are here with us today for the job they do protecting our families? Men and women on the thin blue line have gotten the support from this president. You know, every time I'm out at an airport getting ready to leave, I have a chance to say hello to some of the officers that are assigned to us when we move around through the area. And I always look at them and I tell them, you know, we're all for you. and we are. God bless you. With that renewed commitment to law enforcement, we've been providing the resources and the respect that law enforcement deserves. And with that renewed effort, we've been removing dangerous criminal gang members from our street at a record pace, and we are leaning into the fight against drug dealers, drug abuse, and addiction in America. And with that energy, we've also been enforcing our laws and securing our borders. And Congressman Scott Taylor has been there with us when we got the first down payment, and we've already started to build that wall on the southern border of the United States. Oh, we're building it. Oh, we're building it. Trust me. You know, border security has maybe never been more important, or the need for it's never been more obvious to the American people. You all know what I'm talking about. As we stand here tonight, another migrant caravan is headed north, up the peninsula. Started in Honduras, made its way through Guatemala. Now it's headed through Mexico, more than 7,000 strong. And let's be clear. Let's be clear on this point. This caravan has been organized by human traffickers and leftist organizations in Central America who have no regard for human life. They are exploiting vulnerable families in this attempt to come north to break our laws. And the truth of the matter is, as the President said, this migrant caravan is an assault on our country, and we are not going to allow it. We're not going to allow it because we've got to secure our borders. We're not going to allow it because we need to respect the men and women who have stood in line, like my grandfather, to come into America legally and be a part of our country under the law. And also, we're not going to allow it because we've got to protect the American people against those who would do us harm. Dangerous criminals, gang members, and even terrorists. You know, the truth is that the Department of Homeland Security reports that every single day we apprehend 10 terrorists or suspected terrorists attempting to come into our country. Every single day. Now, you might have noticed the media spent a lot of time yesterday challenging the President's belief that there were MS-13 gang members or people from the Middle East or outside Central America in the caravan. When I was asked about it, I said it was inconceivable to think that it was otherwise. And yesterday, before dinner even came, the Department of Homeland Security confirmed, and I quote, that there are individuals within the caravan who are gang members who have significant criminal histories, and there are, quote, citizens of countries outside Central America, including countries in the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia, traveling through Mexico toward the United States of America. Once again, the American people hear the truth. And we are going to stand strong for our borders, for our rule of law, and to protect the people of this country. That's a promise. And make no mistake about it, this caravan's also being driven by the dangerous policies of the Democrats. They want control of the Congress again. It just is. I mean, the Democrats don't want to build that wall. They don't want to secure our borders. They don't want to close the immigration loopholes that human traffickers use to entice vulnerable families to take the long and dangerous journey up the peninsula, with the promise that if they just cross the border, that with policies like catch and release and other loopholes in our law, that people will be able to come and to stay. And even some of the leading voices in the Democratic Party actually say that we should abolish immigrations and customs enforcement altogether. Well, let me make you a promise. With President Donald Trump in the White House, with Scott Taylor back in Congress, we will never abolish ICE. We will stand with those courageous men and women who are enforcing our laws and protecting our families. You know, frankly, if the Democrats take the Congress, what we're seeing south of the border is just a foretaste of what's to come. And it's just one more reason. Stronger military, standing with our veterans, a growing economy, strong judiciary, and the rule of law. It's one more reason why we need to make sure that Scott Taylor is re-elected to the Congress of the United States of America. Because this is a choice. Because it comes down to a choice. My last comment, folks. I said I'm here to talk about the candidate. I'm here to talk about the progress that we've made. But there's a choice. Now, I'll confess to you, Scott Taylor is such an impressive person, I'd be here if he was unopposed. He is just that impressive of an American. He is. It's true. But you do have a choice in this race. In Scott Taylor, you got a proven leader with a proven record who's always put Virginia first and who's been standing strong with the president and the agenda that the people of this congressional district voted to advance. Now, you can't say the same thing about his opponent. First of all, she opposes our tax cuts. In fact, she wants to join the Democrats in the Congress to raise taxes. She opposes building a wall on the southern border. She opposes the agenda of Nancy Pelosi. In fact, Nancy Pelosi knows she can count on Scott's opponent to make her the next Speaker of the House. And let me tell you something. I was there the last time Nancy Pelosi was Speaker of the House. You don't ever want that to happen again. I'm serious. For real. I mean, when they were in charge last time, they weren't increasing military spending. They were cutting military spending. They weren't cutting taxes, they were raising taxes. Okay? I mean, they weren't reducing the size of government, they were growing government. Their cap and trade scheme to stifle American energy they tried to pass. They gave us the weight of Obamacare, a disaster on this economy. They walked away from the timeless values that make this country great. They truly did. So men and women, we need to decide right here and right now. We're going to choose tax cuts over tax hikes. We're going to choose jobs over mobs. We're going to choose border security over open borders. We're going to choose a stronger military instead of American weakness. We're going to choose results over resistance. We're going to choose to send Scott Taylor back to Washington, D.C. I'm feeling really good about this race after being here tonight, to be honest with you. You all are incredible. But I want you to take that enthusiasm tonight. I really do. I want you to leave here tonight. I want you to do 3 quick things. Number 1, decide right here and right now that you are going to vote Virginia. You're going to vote to send Scott Taylor back to Washington, D.C. Elections are won by the people that show up. Okay? I mean, the truth of the matter is these midterm elections are a challenge for the party that's in the White House. History teaches that. The conventional wisdom is that for the party that's in the White House, these first midterm elections are tough. It's tough to hold your ground. Well, that's the conventional wisdom, but I think we all know what President Trump thinks of conventional wisdom. We made history in 2016. We're going to make history again in 2018 when we reelect Scott Taylor and a Republican majority on Capitol Hill. But we got to vote, Virginia. And remember, friends don't let friends vote alone. Okay? You got to leave here today. You got to start every conversation for the next 13 days. Have you voted? Are you going to vote? Grab your family members, your friends at work, at worship, and just tell them, really, it matters. It really matters. And we got to get out and vote for this good man and for this cause and this agenda. Secondly, go tell somebody. Go tell somebody. You know, the truth of the matter is, I get up some mornings and I turn on my television with a stick. You know, anybody with me on that? I mean, I don't know what's going to be on there on any given day. I mean, they're not talking about America being respected in the world again. They're not talking about our military being strengthened again. They're not talking about 4 million new jobs, businesses coming back to America, standing up for the values like the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, and the sanctity of human life. They're not talking about what we've been doing, the things we've been standing for. So you need to go tell them. You know, I'll always believe the most powerful media in this country is now and always has been word of mouth. It's not your social media. It's not most of your cable television networks. It's not your newspaper, not your radio. I mean, it's just talking to people. I think that's what happened in 2016. The American people were talking to each other. We knew that America could be stronger. We knew that America could be more prosperous. We knew that we could reground this country in the timeless ideals in the Constitution, the American founding, minted and forged by leaders from Virginia. And we knew we could do it. And we talked to each other about it. So just, you know, leave from here tonight and say, I ran into Mike the other day at Regent. Just tell him. And he said, we got to have Scott Taylor for 2 more years in Washington, D.C., and we'll keep this thing growing and growing. Okay? And there's one last thing I'd encourage you to do. You know, in these times where there seems to be so much division in our country, you know, I don't remember a time in my lifetime where it seemed like people in the public debate spent more time talking about what divided us as America than what unites us. You know, and I'll always believe that there will always be more that unites us in these United States of America than will ever divide the people of this great nation. And chief among those things is faith. You know, the president said not long ago that we're a nation of faith. And I hear it everywhere I go. You know, I had it happen. I was over in Pennsylvania in Lancaster earlier today. I hear it everywhere I travel. Sweetest words the president and I ever hear when people grab a hand and say, I'm praying for you. This is a nation that believes in prayer. So I want to encourage you to avail yourself in the days ahead. But on this one, Scott won't mind. On this one, I'm not asking for you to pray for a candidate or a cause or a party. I actually just encourage you to, if you bow the head and bend the knee in the next 13 days, just pray for America. Pray for all people of America. And when you pray, pray with confidence. In these divided times where we need so much to find a way to come together, I truly believe that those ancient words that Americans have clung to in much more challenging times than we could ever imagine are still true today. That if his people who are called by his name will humble themselves and pray, he'll do like he's always done in the long and storied history of this nation. He will hear from heaven, and He will heal this land. This one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So pray, Virginia. Pray for America. This prayer matters, and it'll make a difference. So thank you all for coming out tonight. God bless you. Thanks for coming out tonight. I got a plane to catch, but I'm really grateful that you're here. Let me say something. Let me say something from my heart before I leave the stage. I just want to say to all of you here in this district, for this grandson of an Irish immigrant who grew up in a small town in southern Indiana, I dreamed someday of doing like Scott Taylor's done and representing my hometown in the Congress. I actually never, ever remember thinking I could ever be governor of the state that I loved. And so the privilege you've given me to serve in this capacity is beyond anything I could ask or imagine. So on behalf of my little family, let me just say thank you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to serve as your vice president. It's the greatest honor of my life. Thank you. I leave here tonight, I leave here with a grateful heart, grateful to each and every one of you for your dedication, for your support. And I'm more convinced than ever, that with Scott Taylor back in a renewed Republican majority in the Congress of the United States, with Republicans reelected to offices all across this country, with President Donald Trump in the White House, and with God's help, we will make Virginia and America more prosperous than ever before. We will make Virginia and America safer than ever before. And to borrow a phrase, we will make America great again. Thank you very much. God bless you. Let's go get out there and get Scott Taylor back in Washington, D.C.